Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to understand state variables in ReactJS. So this is the most important topic of ReactJS. So learn very carefully. Okay. So we are going to write one code based on one scenario. So let's understand the scenario first. Okay. So let's assume this is your browser. This is the front end. Okay. On this front end, we have to initially display hello, and let's say I'm going to display my name over here, Priya. Along with this, we are going to display one button also for the user. Let's say this is the button. On this, I will display a click. So when user will click on this button, then it should not display hello Priya. Rather, it should change the name from Priya to Ankit. This is what we are going to implement it, guys. What I'm telling, if user will click on this button, then it should print hello Ankit. But before that, it was hello Priya. Okay, so this is what I want. Okay, so let's say initially your name variable is initialized with the value Priya. Okay, and you are writing here, let's say hello, and the value of name variable, which is nothing but Priya. But when user will click on this button, then what it should do? It should change this value from Priya to Ankit, guys, inside the memory. This is what I want. And component, it should re-render and we should get the output, hello Ankit. What I'm telling, component should re-render, guys. Why component should re-render? See, inside your DOM, let's say you have one div. Inside that div, you have one heading. Okay, this heading I'm talking about. And below that, let's say you have a button. Okay, button means this button I'm talking about. So now in this, when user will click on this button, your H1 should update from Priya to Ankit, right? So your H1 element should re-rendered, guys. Re-render. Why? Because something got changed in H1, right? So H1 should re-render, then and then only we will get the updated output on the front end. This is how state variable works. Okay. So now let's try to achieve this first by using the normal variable, not state variable. How to declare state variable, what it is, we will understand later. But we are going to use normal variable first to achieve this scenario. What is the scenario? When user will click this button, then we have to re-render H1 to display the updated value of name variable. Updated means from Priya, it will update to Ankit. Okay. So this is what we are basically going to write. So let's start first. Okay. We are going to create one function or component, functional component. We will give the component name as, let's say, Greek component. So I will just write greet.js. Inside this, I'm going to create one function. So we will just write function. What should be the function name? Of course, greet should be the function name because file name we have already given. Okay. Inside this, we will declare one variable, guys. Okay. So let initial value of name will be Priya, right? So this is Priya. Okay. Now next, we need one button also, but that will come in JSX part, not here. Okay. So now we are going to return. Here I will write return. What you want to return? One H1, okay, on which it should display hello. What is the value of name variable? That value should come over here, okay. And then this is the closing of H1. Below that, we will display one button over here, okay, button. So I will be using on click event here, on click. When user will click on this button, then which function you want to call? So I'm telling when user will click on this button, you call, let's say, update function. Okay, you call update function. Like this function name I will pass. Okay. Now this is the closing of my button. And here I will write click as a text on the button. This is the closing tag of my button. Closing of return statement and closing of greet function. Now the pending part is this update function, guys. When user will click on this button, which function we should call? Update. So let's create the function. I'm going to use arrow function to create this. So I will use either of the keyword. What is the function name? Update. Okay. Is equal to. These are the brackets to pass the parameter. This is the arrow function. Opening of bracket and closing of bracket of your update function. Now inside this, what we should write? We should tell update this name from Priya to Ankit. Okay, name is already present in the memory, right? Update it from Priya to Ankit. So this is the final code we have written. So now how this code works, let's understand first. Let's say this is your front end. Okay, we have imagine we have rendered this greet component on the front end. Okay, we have rendered what? Greet component on this front end. So what is the output of greet component? Initially it will display h1 heading with hello, and what is the value of name variable? Priya. So it will display Priya. Along with that, it will display one button also, and click will be the text on that button. So you will be getting one button like this. On this button, click will be displayed. So when user will click on this button, then which function we have to call? Update. So from here, your control will come inside the update function. So what we are telling, let's say in the memory, initially in the memory, you have name initialized with Priya, correct? So now next, when you will click on this button, then this update function will be called. Now you are telling name should be initialized with Ankit, not Priya. So in memory now, name is holding Ankit, not Priya, guys. And this is the closing of update. That's all. So now if name value is Ankit, on front end also it should display Ankit, right? But try to understand, if you have this component greet in your DOM structure, okay? If something updates in this greet component, what we want? We want that component, it should re-render, guys. But unfortunately, when your normal variable updates internally, your components won't be re-rendered. So if you click also here, your output will be hello Priya only. It won't change. Okay. So first let's check whether we are getting the output or not. Then we will have more discussion on this. Okay. So I will share my screen. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible to all of you. So now inside components, we have about, contact and home, correct? So I'm going to create one more component inside components. We'll give the component name as greet.jsx, correct? We will create functional component over here. What we want to return? We want to return simple one h1 tag, correct? So this is h1. On this, we will display hello and the value of name variable I want over here. But where is name? Let's declare the name first. Let name is equal to, I will initialize with the value Priya. Okay, we'll save the code. So now along with this, we need to display one button also, guys. Okay, so this is your button. And on this button, I will display click. Okay, so let's see first this much output we are getting or not. Okay, so we will split the screen over here. Just give me a second. Okay, so we are going to render this into app.jsx. So I'm not going to return this home and all. So what I'm going to return this time, greet I'm going to return. If you want to keep this other components as it is, you can keep and you can render greet also over here. Okay, you no need to remove it. So now we will save the code. We are using the greet component, so it is must for us to import it. So I'm telling import. What is the component name? Greet. From components, greet. Because inside components folder, greet is present. So now let's check the output, guys. What output we are getting? Okay. So I will go to the page. Can you see here? Hello Priya, and click button I am getting. Okay. So now if I click on this button, is something happening? Nothing is happening. So let's give that on click event here. So I'm telling when user will click on this button, then you call update function. But where is update function? So creation of update function is a part of JavaScript, right? So before the return method, you should write the function creation, update function. So either of the keyword we will use. Function name is update is equal to, these are the brackets to pass the parameters for the function. Arrow function I am creating, you can create normal regular function, function expression, whichever you want. Okay. Now inside this, your name value, it has to initialize with from Priya to Ankit. This is what I want. So our code is ready, guys. See, when user will click on this button, update function will be called. Update will set the name to Ankit. And here we are telling hello name. So whatever is present in name, that will be displayed on the front end. We'll save the code. We'll come back over here. I will click on the button. Still it is Priya. Again, I will click Priya only. So what is happening? Is it not updating the value? So let's check it out, guys. Along with this, I'm going to write one alert message also, alert, and print the value of name. Okay, so we'll save the code and we'll go back here. Okay, we'll refresh the page. Okay, I'll just refresh the page. Okay, so initially, hello Priya, I have here. Means value of name variable is Priya, correct? So now I will click on this button. See what is the value of name variable? It is Ankit. So in the memory, it got updated, guys. But your page, your component, it is not re-rendering to display the new value. So one rule you need to understand here that when normal variable updates, then the component which is using that variable, that won't be re-rendered. In the memory, name got changed from Priya to Ankit. Here we are printing the value of name in the alert, guys. Correct? See, if I click on this, see value got changed from Priya to Ankit. But your component is not re-rendered to display the updated value. And this is the drawback of your regular variables because they won't update. They won't give the updated information to the user. So like this, we cannot make our application interactive, right? If user is clicking on the button, if updated data is not visible to the user here, then this heading is acting like a static, guys, right? Static data. Hello Priya, forever it will be hello Priya only. So when user will click, your component should update, right? Updated information, it should display to you. That is what we call it as an interactive application. You might have seen Amazon, Flipkart, YouTube. When you will click, based on your click, based on your interaction, you will get the updated data on the front end, right? So that is what we call it as an interactive application. So your normal variables are not allowing you to make your component interactive, but your state variables will allow you to make the components interactive. So one more example I will take, okay, by using this variable only, normal variable. Here we understood the problem that in memory, the value got updated, but this component React is not re-rendering to display the updated value. That's why this component is not interactive, okay. So now I am going to create one more component, guys. Inside components only, see, I will right click, I will create a new file. I will give the file name as counter component, counter, counter.jsx. This component will create, okay. So functional component only I am going to create a functional component, okay. This is a counter. Counter means I will initialize this counter with 0. If you click plus, it should increment by 1, okay. A normal counter variable I will create. So first I will initialize count variable with the value 0. Okay, this is the initial value of count variable. Now after that, inside one h1 or h3, I'm going to display the value of count. So I will write count. What is the value of count? Variable name is also count. So I will write count. Below that, we will give one button. Okay, button. On this button, I'm going to display plus sign like this. So we are exporting this component. So let's import it into app.jsx. So after this greeting, I'm going to render my counter component here. Okay. So you can check already it got imported. So now let's check the output on the front end, guys. I will save this code. We'll go back. If I click on this plus, is it incrementing the count? It is not incrementing because we have not written on click event yet, right? So we will use here. I'm telling when user will click on this button, then you call increase the function because we have to increase the count, right? So I am going to use arrow function only. Increase is equal to. These are the brackets to pass the parameters. This is the arrow symbol and this is the implementation of increase. So what it should do, guys? It should increment the count, your count value. It should increment by +1, correct? Existing value +1 and new value, we should get it into the count. So what I am telling, look here everyone. When user will click on this plus button, call the increase function, increment the value of count by +1 and that incremented value we are displaying here. So count initially will be 0. When you will click, count value will be 1. So let's check it out. I will go here. I will click on this. Am I getting 0, 1? Nothing I am getting. So now let's check whether it is really updating the value or not after our click. So in alert message, in alert box, we will display the value of count. Okay. So here I will write value of count variable is. Value of count variable is. In string form, we should write, of course, comma, and then we will display the value of count. Okay. So now I'm going to save the code. Now check it out. In the memory, what is happening? I will click on this. Value of count variable is, I guess it is not considering this count. Okay, it is considering it as a string. Just give me a second. I will fix it. Okay, so the issue is here we have written comma. So plus works over here, guys, for the concatenation. Okay, so now I'm going to save this code. I hope it is visible. See here, I have replaced this with plus. Previously, it was like this. So we were not getting the correct output because concatenation, we have to perform like this. Okay. So now I will go back to the code and we will refresh it over here. So now I will click on this. See, what is the value of count in the memory? It is 1. But on front end, it is 0 only. Why? Because counter component React has not re-rendered. So when normal variable updates in the memory, React won't re-render the component. You can check in the memory count is 2 now. Again, I will click on this. In the memory count is 3 now. Again, I will click on this. In the memory count is 4 now. But when normal variable updates, React won't re-render your component. This point you have to understand very, very properly. Okay. So now we will stop the video here only. You just type both the codes. What we have did in this video. First, we have created greet. Then we have created counter. Okay. And one more, your app.js. Inside app.js, we have just called them. Okay. So this is the most important is your greet. I hope it is visible now. First is greet. In app, we have just rendered them. And next is your counter, guys. Okay. So practice with this 3 component, 1, 2, and here you render it and check. If we click on this, we are not getting the output. What rule we understood over here? Let's understand the rule one more time. Rule is saying when normal variable updates in React. For example, if you have declared the variable name initialized with Priya, this is called as normal variable, guys. This is not a state variable. We'll discuss about state variable. So in the based on the user click or user interaction, this value of name in the memory got updated from Priya to Ankit. So when normal variable updates, React won't re-render the component. Okay. So the rule, I will write it here. When normal variable updates, normal variable updates, React won't re-render the component. Won't re-render the component. Now, inside our DOM tree, how many components we have as per our code? This is your div component, which is a main parent. Inside this, you have app component, correct? Inside app component, we have first a home component. Inside app, we have a home. Next, inside app, what else we have? We have about. And inside this app, we have a contact also. Okay. So now, inside app, we have created one more component, counter and greet also. All are being returned from the app only. So greet. So now we have declared one variable inside greet. What variable? Name. Okay. So when name variable updates, then as per the updated value of name, React should re-render this greet. But is React re-rendering to display updated value on the front end? No. No. Okay. In counter component, we have declared count and initial value was 0. So when count got updated from 0 to 1 in memory, what we are expecting? React should re-render the counter component. Re-render. But is React re-rendering the counter component? No. So even though the values got updated in the memory, still on the front end, we are not getting the updated value. So just imagine, you might have seen the buttons like this, right? Add to cart button. Add to cart. So just imagine, you are clicking on plus, plus, plus. In the memory, it is getting incremented by 1, 2, 3, 4. But on front end, for you guys, it is 0. Even after clicking plus, plus, plus. So this is what will happen if you are using normal variables like this while initializing the variables. Normal variables means let name, let count. And here only you initialize. Here we have given the value Priya. And here we have given the value. This is what we call it as a normal way of initializing the variable, which won't work in React. This won't make your components interactive. Interactive means if user is clicking on this, on front end, it should display 1, 2, 3, 4. Not in the memory. Okay. So on front end, I need updated value based on user interaction. So how to make these components interactive? By using state variables, we will be discussing in the next video. But I hope in this video, I am clear with what is the drawback of using normal variable instead of state variable. So type the code twice, thrice until you get the better clarity. Read more about the state, what is the problem, understand, and then only come for the next video. Okay. Thank you everyone. We'll stop this video here. We'll meet in the next video.